Hey guys, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Team Preview. This time we're up to the St Kilda Saints. 4 more to go, including this one. So we're getting near the end of this. I believe this one is recorded on like the 28th, 29th, I want to say. Probably 29th. Yeah, 29th or so sounds about right. But anyway, let's just jump into this, get through all these guys. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9 guys. So this is probably the biggest one. So let's just jump straight into this one, given we've got many players to get through. As you know, I will be going through team by team on this, or player by player, sorry, I should say, from teams on the AFL Fantasy Positions website here. And you'll see that's Jack Sinclair is the first one up. Jack Sinclair is the first guy that I have mentioned. And this is just due to, remember what I was saying about, and you guys will know by now, the Nick Newman as well as Harry Sheezel and all these, and then also Jordan Clark, and I sort of clumped together Sinclair and Wanganeen Malira into that same bracket, and almost Bailey Dale as well in that same bracket. I was like, these guys are non-early buy players who can consistently, I think, hold that sort of average that they're priced at currently. And also, they don't really have a position change. So that's why Sinclair's in that bracket, Nick Newman, Harry Sheezel, and then probably Jordan Clark. So those 4 guys are the guys that I'm looking at. But anyway, let's just riddle off some Sinclair stats here. In 2022, 23, and 24, he averaged 102.9, 102.1, 101.9. And that included 19.5 kicks, 19.6 kicks, 17.9 kicks. Very ultra consistent, one of the most consistent players you can see. 8.2, 9.3, 9.2 handballs per game, 5.8, 5, and 5.3 marks per game respectively. And then the tackles 2.5, 2, and 3. And the kick-ins as well, 85, 90, and 65, all at an increasing kick-in play-on percentage. And then the CBAs as well, 11, 28, and 30. I just think Sinclair is one of the most consistent scorers in the last 3 years, and he can continue on with another year of this at that lucrative halfback role at the Saints. I don't think that they will absolutely quicken up the pace of the game, and I think there's still enough time for him to gather enough of the ball. I feel like he's one of the few reliable non-early buy defenders in AFL Fantasy for 2025. Could he increase the scoring if Wanganeen Malira moves up to the wing as well? Could he potentially go to 104, 105 and be that top echelon of guys where he's genuinely beating total points for Nick Martin, Flanders, and guys like that, and presenting more value as well because you're saving like 80k for getting the same total points is effectively the theory here. So Sinclair goes to say a 105, and I'm just going to do the math for you right now. If I do 105 times 23, that's 2,415 points. And if we divide that by 22 games, they would need to average 109.75. So times that by 22 again, minus say you get a covering 60 score or so, divide that by 22 and it goes to a 107. So he's basically going 105 would cover up to Nick Martin, who has the early extra buy. Plus he'd save you guys roughly about 50k or so, given that he's priced at 1.044 million, and a lot of these guys, Nick Martin, I believe, is in the 1.1 millions. So next guy up is his partner in crime, Naseem Wanganeen Malira. I think Wanganeen Malira, he's taken steps in his game every year, 62, 91, 97 average, and I think he could potentially stall here because you've also got to consider he had 104 and then 91 kick-ins. And if you give those to Jack Sinclair, so Wanganeen Malira is going to be one that we watch on the track, and he could have a massive role change in 2025, but this could also be false now that with this early in preseason, he could just be sat at halfback or whatever, but I don't think he will, given we're seeing Tobie Travaglia be drafted, Ari Schoenmaker was drafted last year. I have a feeling they want Wanganeen Malira up the wing, if not even operating in that half forward space, given that Brad Hill isn't getting any younger. So, especially those people that are Saints fans, please put your Saints best 23, like in sort of back, middle 6, forward 6, etc., in the comments below so that I can get a grasp on what you believe will be where he sort of is situated. So yeah, it'll be just interesting to see where he goes in preseason, especially after preseason when we get after Christmas. And it feels like, as I said, could be one pushed up the wing, up onto the wing in 2025. Then You'll see a lot of, like we always see, key position players. And then we get to Ari Schoenmaker. Ari Schoenmaker averaged in 8 games, I believe, in 4 games, sorry, 58.4. Let me just quickly go to Ari Schoenmaker. I don't know if he had a sub or a sub-out game, which may have even impacted his... Nope, no sub-out games and just 4 games averaging 58.8 in 4 games. And if you actually look at his VFL stats, you'll see 10 games, 96.2. Let me make this just a little bit bigger for you guys. There you go. Maybe even a little bit bigger. There you go. That's a lot better. You can see that a lot better there. 10 games, 96.2 in the VFL, 21 kicks per game, 5 handballs, 6.2 marks, 1.1 tackles. And then in the Coates League in 2023, if you were to average these out, you would get 8 games, 104.3, 23.6 kicks, 3.4 handballs, 5.9 marks, 1.5 tackles. He's an absolute gun. I have a feeling he takes that next step. And so, yeah, I'm really intrigued about Ari Schoenmaker, priced at 48.2, which is about 495k, 494k. I think he can go and average 70, 75, 80 in AFL very, very easily, especially if he gets that Wanganeen Malira role at halfback. We've seen him also take booming kick-ins. He's got one of the biggest boots I've seen in quite a while. Actually going to need to just make this a little bit smaller for the sake of it. Yeah, so I just think that Ari Schoenmaker is a definite, if he does get that role, given that that role has seen 90 guys consistently for the last couple of years in Wanganeen Malira, if he gets that exact role. And yeah, so I basically said in my notes here, can replace Wanganeen Malira at half back role, as he's shown to rack it up at both Coates and VFL level. Will be hard to break into the side given the selection of Travaglia in the most recent national draft with an early first round selection. Moving or talking on about Travaglia, let's just get through all these other guys because they're always keys or lockdowns. Liam O'Connor, no. Tobie Travaglia, the one other defender that I'm going to talk about from the St Kilda Saints, and then we move into their basically whole midfield, including their ruckman. Travaglia at the moment is priced at 319k, given that he was the 8th overall selection in the most recent draft. And yeah, so he gets in at 319k, 31.1 priced at. And if you look at his Coates League in 2024, he averaged a clean ton, basically. If we just go here quickly to Tobie Travaglia, 100.5, 7 100 plus scores, 2 120 plus scores, 12 games, 100.5 average, 10.3 kicks per game, 13.3 handballs, 4.3 marks, 6.4 tackles. Basically, whoever gets that slot out of Schoenmaker or Travaglia, if Wanganeen Malira moves up to the wing, is probably who I'm going to start. And I just feel like it's going to be Travaglia, annoyingly, for Schoenmaker. But it could be, yeah, Travaglia's going to be one of the more consistent rookie scorers, I feel like, this year. As he's a genuine attacking halfback and can rack up the pill as seen in his senior year on screen, as you can see here, at Coates level, averaging 23.6 touches per game. That is a ridiculous number for a halfback. If he can get anywhere close to 70, 75 at average, he might be one of the most important rookie selections, given the gulf in like rookie players in the defender line compared to the midfield line. Like, we know the midfield line is going to have heaps of 40, sort of 25, 30 gaps in break or price point to their average, etc. Whereas I don't know how many are going to have that in the defender line, etc. So like in the midfield, you're going to be battling over like maybe 5-10 points of value for these rookies, whereas Travaglia could be plus 10 or 15 points on value more than any other defender. That's how much value I feel like he's going to have, especially over the rookies. So that's why he is so critical at to get a debut early. I feel like him or Schoenmaker. Then we move on into the midfield. The midfield. And we know that Jack Steele said, I need some help. Please give me some help. So we will be talking about the help that he's got over this summer, I guess, in the draft and also the trade period. But first, we have to talk about the big man himself. Jack Steele averaged, where is it? Let me just bring this up for you guys on screen. Obviously, I have it on a secondary monitor here. But Jack Steele averaged 106.6 in 2024, up from 98.6 in 23, but down from the 110.7 in 22 and the 122 he averaged in 2021. Just look at the man's stats. He absolutely went on a tear in 21, but in 22. But in 2024, he was just a little bit down. I don't remember if there was an injury game or anything like that. But yeah, if you look at his tear to end the year, Just look at this absolute tear. 113.4 in the last 8 games of the year. And I'm pretty sure he also had a tear to start the year. Let me just check this one here for you guys. Let's just check this one here. Yeah, look at this run that he had to start the year. 9 games, 110.6. So there is value there. I just don't know if he's going to be that guy that can return to that 110, 112 type of range again, or whether he'll just sit around that 106. So much like I said with the likes of Bont and some other guys, and like some other, I forget who else it was today. I feel like I talked about them in a preview that you would have seen. Not Taranto. Let me just scroll through this again. Probably not probably Butters, I would say, maybe, that I talked through. And other guys like that. These guys are basically an M1 to M8 range. I just don't know which type of value you're going to get. So yeah, will be interesting to see with Jack Steele what he does. Priced it, last year had a peak of 121.9 in 2021. Can jump up and be really valuable because he is a non-buy midfielder in 2025, or hold the same of 106 to 110 is still going to be value for Jack Steele, just because he's would be a decent selection, I said, but not the knockout blow that would be him returning to 120. So it'll be interesting with the midfield help that he is slated to grab. Let's just go through. Hunter Clark, not valuable. Windhager, not going to take the next step, I don't think, or you can't. He's not positional change, not historical value, no injury value, therefore just neglect, I feel like, because we know that those guys are hard to pick, the just general breakouts. Paddy Dow, no. Brad Crouch is retired. Zach Jones, no. Angus Hastie is a winger anyway. And Hugh Boxall is the only guy in the midfield section that I want to talk about remaining. And he's a basement player. 7 games at Colts level in 2024 for an average of 89.9, 8.7 kicks, 16.3 handballs, 4 marks, 5.2 tackles. He seems like the all-round package and could be a great fantasy scorer if he gets a run. Just doubtful if he gets a run with the St Kilda midfield, given the addition of Macrae, which we'll get to in the off-season, and the emergence of Philippou in the back half of 2024. So that's all the midfielders talked about for St Kilda, and I'm somehow managing to keep on a decent enough time, actually. So let's get through to the ruck stocks. Rowan Marshall, 117.1, top price guy at 1.201 million. Just had to adjust that slightly. And you'll just see, and this is why I was talking about with Tom de Koning, I think a couple of days ago, I want to say, or maybe I wasn't, but with the likes of Rowan Marshall, you actually saw a 7th year breakout for him in the fact that in 2023, and I believe this was his 8th year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years now in the league, and 117.1 in his most recent season. And if you actually take out this sort of half-injured game that he had, let's just look at ruck contests. He actually had a 55% ruck contest for where's his sort of injured games? He sort of was injured in these 2 games. It felt like he wasn't at his best. If you remove those, just because we are allowed to do that here, and you go back or was it this game that he was injured in? I don't remember exactly, but I think it was all these games that he wasn't actually injured in. And you look at all of the stats here. Let's just quickly go through. You'll see that in the non-injured games, he averaged 121.8 on 88% TOG, 21 games. He is the most expensive player in 2025 AFL Fantasy campaign to start, and for good reason, with consistency over the last 12 months after last 24 months, with a 116 plus in both seasons, which is absolutely huge. They've flagged a need for another ruckman. I believe they're going SSP for another ruckman, so we haven't seen that yet. But to chop out Marshall, or for the potential for him to spend more time up forward, as he's a useful in front of goal marking target. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But yeah, he's definitely a guy that has to be in contention here, or just considerations, as he's an absolute gun and just an absolute tackle beast. Well, not really actually. Tackle mark, just non-disposal numbers are really high actually. You can see 5.8, 4.3, and then 26 as well. And you can see he actually dipped his, he swapped around his kicks and handballs, which was really good to see, as that just got him another, 1.5 points or so per game, basically. And that allowed for a little bit drop off in the tackles, I would say. But yeah, just and he did concede a couple more free kicks, so hopefully he can get that number down. Could he reach 120 is the big question. I feel like he could if he wasn't injured. So he's a guy that I think you can almost start as well alongside Cherry. because they're going to be guys that I think will generally do really well because they just don't have a buy early, and I feel like they almost hold price. But then again, we say this about every single time with the top ranked guys. They generally aren't able to back it up for some reason, which is really, really weird to see. But anyway, on to the last two guys. They're both forward liners, and we'll just get through Heath and Dodson. They did draft Dodson, but I feel like they want a more ready-made guy, given that they gave up Tom Campbell, I believe, to Melbourne to back up Max Gawn. So I believe they want a more ready-made guy. So anyway, on to this. Mason Wood, no, don't matter. Bradley Hill is almost retired. Then we get down to Jack Macrae, 71.4, 18 games. He is on the latter half of my spreadsheet here. But yeah, 71.4 priced at 732k. Averaged in the end, with including finals, 69.5. But obviously we know that they don't take finals into consideration for points, but do for position. He averaged 71.4 for the year. You can see that 36 in finals. But the thing I would like to highlight with him, and the thing I will highlight here, is actually his basically his non-sub games. Just simply put, like I am just going to simply put non-sub games here, and you'll see in 2024 that non-sub he just goes off. Non-sub in 2024 he averages 77.7. I mean, that's not really going off, is it? Have I included a game that he just didn't? Where have I included? I feel like he's much higher than that. But anyway, it is what it is. Oh, a lot of 60 point per game performances. Anyway, let's go back to when he actually has some midfield time. Just any midfield time legitimately. You'll see that goes up to 83. Add in 2020. I'm not going to include that because that was 60% tog. But any time that he's actually had midfield time in the last couple years, and you will see that that scoring starts to really normalize around a number that is decent for a forward liner. I'll take out 2022, and the average is 90. That's top of the line. So I think with him as well, and if you actually look at the content, look at the sort of numbers and his heat maps and stuff like that, you generally actually start to see, if you go and dip this up to say 30% midfield time, it goes up to 92. If you go up to 40%, I'm pretty sure it holds at 90 or so. Let me just double check this, 39. That's all that. It goes up to 96.2. If you take all of the 40 plus percent midfield time that he's had, it goes up to 92. So yeah, I think he's a guy that you just need to almost have in your side just because. And yeah, he moved from the Dogs to the Saints to get more midfield time and went from a full-time midfielder because he went to from a full-time midfielder to a wing half-forward role, which was just nasty. He might not reach 100 again, but I believe in the mid-90s, like I'm saying here. I think 90 to 95 is very, very achievable from Macrae, which is just too much value. You basically get a starter player for the price of like an F4, F3, I think it is. F3, I think is the starting price is going to be at, maybe F2. But yeah, he's just going to be so easy to be, you just get him about 10-15% discount on what really he should be going at least. So yeah, really happy that Macrae's priced at 71.4. Would have liked a little bit less, and we've seen in the VFL, if you actually look at his VFL numbers, 146 in 3 games, he's shown he can rack it up there. So when he plays, he genuinely racks it up. So yeah, just need to get him playing. Then the last guy we need to talk about from the St Kilda Saints is just a little bit further down. Darcy Wilson, no. Mateus Philippou. He is a guy that I'm genuinely interested in as well because in the stats here we actually have it 13 games, 63.9 average, but he had a run in the midfield latter half of the year. 4 games, 106.5. That is a plus 42, is it? Plus 42 or so. Philippou is probably up there alongside Daniel, Macrae and Smith as the most owned non-rookie players for the 2025 fantasy season. Add in Horn Francis, but probably not Horn Francis because Horn Francis isn't as much value, but he probably still will be high owned. This is solely due to the 4-game stretch that he had at the back end of the season where he went over 100, as I said, and then he's most likely to be priced 30 to 35 points under what he does in 2025, as I think he's a mid-90s guy. I don't think he goes 100, as I think he'll have some bad games, but I think he's a mid-90s guy, and a mid-90s guy as a forward is easy change, like easy money. So that's pretty much it for St Kilda. I can scroll through the remaining ones, but they're just not going to be valuable, I don't think. They're all pretty much medios or talls or smalls, and they're just not going to be valuable. As you see, a lot of talls there. But anyway, that is the video there. I've kept this into a really decent time, which is really good. If you did enjoy that, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And for those listening on Spotify, give me a follow and as well as a rating. And I will see you guys in the Sydney Swans preview tomorrow. Bye, guys.